All right. Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Prosperous Man Podcast. Um, Today, we are jumping in and we're going to talk to someone very special. Someone's got a message to share. And, here at the Prosperous Man Podcast, we just are pushing ourselves to grow in all areas. So we believe prosperity is more than just money. We want to be successful. We want to be prosperous in everything that we do. So we want to do it to the best of our ability. So let's welcome Jesse Cruz with us today. Jesse is a motivational speaker, a keynote speaker. He is a life coach. He's an advocate. He is a veteran. I should have led with that. He's a veteran. Thank you for your service. I know veterans, so I don't want to slide by that lightly. So I'll make sure to give props where props are due, give respect, honor, all of that. So thank you, sir, for your service.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Jesse aims to inspire others to achieve their goals. He's highly sought after. He's done great things with My Brother's Keepers, youth advocate programs. He's worked with the Ronald McDonald House. So he has been out there. He has been putting in the work. He has been on the ground, speaking to people, looking to change lives. So Jesse comes to us and he's going to share some things with us from his book, which really caught my eye. It is Live Your Dash, Discovering the 8 F's to Freedom. And then he's working on an upcoming book called Losing Faith, Finding Hope. So we want to talk to him about those. We want to really get to this message and really let him speak on this. So let's let's welcome Jesse Cruz to the Prosperous Man Podcast. Thank you for being here, sir.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure. I'm looking forward to this conversation today.
Yes, awesome. So, tell me a little bit about this book. I want to get right into it. So, Live Your Dash. I love the title. I love the title. So, tell me kind of what your heart behind the book is. What led you to writing the book?
Yeah, so first I'll start with breaking down the title for those who don't know the term Live Your Dash. So for the dash, that represents, if you ever seen a tombstone, the time you're born is on the left, the time you pass away is on the right, and the dash in the middle is what we do with the time we've been given. So that was the theme in writing the book, because our time is precious, it is
Mhm.
limited, and we can't waste living someone else's life. That's why we have to live our own dash, and we must pursue that purpose and the gifts that we've been given to make this world a better place. So that explains the title portion of that.
Mhm.
And to get into further, it's the reason as to why I wrote the book. Years ago, my wife and I, we had a child that was born premature. She was born at 5 months. So she was put into a neonatal intensive care unit, also known as the NICU. And that's kind of where we lived for a little while, because she was born 1 pound. And so she every day was fighting for her life. I watched her flatline multiple times. And as a
Wow.
parent, that's like the scariest thing, to watch your child die. And then she came back to life. And it just kept happening. It was almost like a common thing, unfortunately.
Wow.
And it was tragic to experience that on a daily basis. And then through that journey, you know what I mean? I'm just like, man, this girl, she fought so hard. I mean, she's one
Mhm.
pound. She was the most at risk child in the whole hospital. And after 42 days of fighting, she passed away.
Mhm.
And I made a decision. I had to come to a decision. Am I going to let this ruin my life? Because it almost did. It almost derailed my life completely. Or am I going to take this tragic situation of her passing? Am I going to use it to carry on her life and her legacy and to impact people? So that was my decision. And that's why I wrote the book.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, what that story, it's heartbreaking and it's inspiring at the same time. Because as a parent, I can only say I can only imagine because I haven't experienced, but my heart goes out to you and your wife. Um, and then the work that you've done in her memory to carry on her legacy is amazing. Is amazing. Um, so let's get into the book a little bit. The Discovering Your Dash, Live Your Dash, Discovering the 8 F's to Freedom. So let's talk a little bit, because I know a couple of the F's and I don't want to give all of them, but we'll take a couple like friendship, family, or friendship, fitness, family. Let's take a couple of those. Talk to me a little bit about how'd you narrow it down to 8?
Right. So, in the, shortly after her passing, I just grabbed a notebook and it was empty. And I said, I'm gonna fill this whole thing up. And that's when I'll turn this into a book. So every day I wrote. I mean, I didn't know what I was gonna write. I just knew I had to get my feelings out because, as a man trying to hold that all in and trying to be tough and act like I got it all together, I was breaking down inside. And then writing was the outlet to kind of release some of that pain. And as I shared it every day, just writing every day, I got into this rhythm and I said, man, everything that I'm talking about on this piece of paper right now are the things that are getting me through what I'm going through right now. Wow. And they just so happen to all start with the letter F. And so I originally had 9, and then I was like, let me narrow it down. So I got it down to 8, and the reason why I picked that 8 is because, well, 8 is a symbolism of new beginnings. That's what the number actually means. And it was a new beginning for me to make a decision in my life to live into my purpose and my calling that I perhaps have been running from. But her life inspired me to pursue that. And so I got it to 8. And I believe all 8 categories, every human being on earth is impacted by all 8 of these every single day. So that's why I had to be 8.
That's really good. That's really good. What have you come across? Because, you had this kind of life-altering event that spurred you into this new phase, this new beginning. What would you advise somebody that hasn't had that event? I think we live where it's very easy to get comfortable. So, if somebody hasn't had a life-altering event that's kind of shook them out of that, what advice would you give that person? They still want something, but they're kind of going in that treadmill, kind of going in that hamster wheel where they feel like they're stuck, but they want to be able to break out of that.
I mean, for me, I think a person in that situation has to ask a few questions, and they have to ask these questions to themselves and give an honest answer. And then after they reveal that honest answer, they must take action. So I think every person obviously is given a gift, something they have with them. And unfortunately, a lot of people keep that gift wrapped under the tree of life and they never open it up. And if you don't open it up, the gift, you can never share it. And so I think once a person asks the questions like, what am I good at? That's going to get them close to the purpose. What do I enjoy doing? What does the world need? How can I make a difference with this gift? Once you start asking those questions and you start answering them honestly, then your perspective is going to change because everyone has something to offer. And once you recognize what you have to offer, and then you realize you are of value, you are worthy, and people are depending on you to share that gift. I truly believe that when we don't share our gifts, we're robbing not only ourselves, we're robbing the world of a blessing.
Yeah, that's really good, because I think that's learning that part of it is like, we are all very much connected to each other. And like, just as much as you have your gift, I have my gift, but we need each other to be able to share those gifts, to better our communities, to better our society, to better ourselves as individuals, as families, as men. I think that's awesome. And I think that's what's needed. I think you're very much right on point. It's like we have to take time to discover our gifts. So
yeah, absolutely.
So awesome. Okay, so as you're going through this process and you're writing these things down, did you intend to put it all into a book, or were you kind of just going through it just to kind of get your feelings out? Because, I know as men, sometimes that can be a struggle of our feelings and processing them. I think we're coming into a new age where men are more willing to, go to therapy and to talk to other men. But kind of at the time where you're dealing with this, were you thinking long term of being able to write a book, or was it just kind of, I need to get these emotions out and write them out?
Well, first it was, I just need to write. But I also, even though I knew I had to just write, I knew that I also had a plan for that writing, because I wanted to be intentional, because I knew in that, in those moments of grief after her passing was so recently, right after
Mhm.
when I started writing, I knew that this version of me was going to be the most um, real, because
Mhm.
when you're in pain, you don't have time for fake.
Right.
And when the more pain that you feel, you have less time for fake.
Mhm.
And so I knew that this would be some of my realest writings and my realest genuine life experiences. And as I was writing, I came up with the idea of these categories, and I said, well, it's time to get to work. And so I just wrote every single day. And I said, I do want to turn this into a book. I didn't ever know it was going to happen. I mean, a part of me didn't even believe it. I just knew that I wanted to do it. And then as I kept writing, I was like, no, there's something special here. It was put on my heart for a reason. And that's because it's going to be designed to impact people. And then so I was like, you know what, this is going to be a book. I'm going to get it published. And that's what I did.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was talking to somebody uh, recently, and they were saying, they had just written a book, and they were saying how, they wrote the book for kind of for themselves. They wrote the book that they needed at the time. And I hear that in your story is like you needed to kind of write these things down. And it starts out as, I need to write this for me. And then as you're going along, you're like, oh, this is impactful. I need to be able to share this with everyone. And that way, kind of that conduit you do it through is through a book. So that's awesome. That's very awesome of being able to go through that process.
Absolutely.
So as you are writing the book and as you know, publishing, getting it out there, what has what has been the response from people that you've, you know, has it had the impact or, have what you wanted or what you desired, the legacy that you wanted to leave? Talk to me about
Mhm.
that.
Well, when I wrote it, I just told myself I just want to get, like, 25 to 50 books made, give them to family and friends. Like, that's all I really wanted to do. I mean, just to say that I did it and I accomplished a goal of mine. I just wanted to, give it to family and friends. And it started out that way, but that's not how it went, because I had friends, acquaintances, and then when I saw people I had no idea who they were reaching out to me to get it, I had people contacting me from different states, different countries. When I saw that, I was like, wow, like, now we're going international. I'm just like, I didn't expect it. I didn't plan it. I don't even know if I truly desired that at the beginning. I just wanted to get it out to a few people. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then people kept buying it, kept buying it, kept buying it. I was like, all right, well, I just ran out. Now I got to go buy more. And so, like, I'm just like, man, that's a good problem to have. Is when people ask
Right.
me, hey, do you have any more copies? Actually, no, I don't. I actually ran out. I got to order more. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to
Sure.
wait. You know what I mean? That's a good problem to have. And yeah, I'm just so thankful, because it's when you truly take time out each day to work on your craft, whatever that craft is, and that gift, and you put in the effort and you put in the time and you stay disciplined with it, you never really know the impact it's going to have, because you're in the moment. And then once it's time to harvest, after everything that you've been, all the planting that you've done, and it's time to reap that harvest, you're overwhelmed with how everything is multiplied.
Mhm.
You put in one seed, you don't get one fruit or vegetable back, you get multiple. And
Yep.
so I planted this seed of this writing every single day, and I'm multiplied into reaching people all over the world that I don't even know who they are. But that's how
Mhm.
it works when you plant your gifts into other people. The harvest multiplies.
That's awesome. I'm hearing a lot of uh, words that I love. So I hear a lot of, planting seeds, the harvest, this book really being a blessing to people far beyond than what you think. And, I truly believe that's how things work. When we were talking earlier about our gifts, it's like when you do that gift and, God has kind of put that in you and you're able to get into that gift. When you do plant a seed, it does come back multiply. Like it's not a one for one, like, oh, I wrote a book and one person just give it to one and that's it. It's like, kind of like you're saying, and like in your experience, it's been multiplied to reaching to places that you didn't, people and places you may not even have desired or really thought about. Like there's opportunity, I think, when you do it from that place that you were in. You're doing it from your heart. It's from, a good place.
Yeah, for sure.
So living your dash. When I think of that, and kind of what we're doing here with the podcast, is being able to help and encourage people to get the most out of that. I think it's a shame that we can live in a world where all you do is go to work and come home, and where that can be kind of the main part of your existence. So from your book and from your own experience, which you have shared with us today, which has been awesome, what are some of the key steps for people to, maximize living in that dash? We've talked about their gifts and flowing in those gifts, but let's say it's in their relationship, in their fitness. You're a veteran, you look like you're in shape right now. So, let's take one of those categories. Let's take one of those like fitness, and just being able just to maximize it, just being able to do our best.
So, if I'm going to pick one to talk about, I would always start with the one that I put in the beginning of the book, because when you start with this category, it prepares you for the rest. And I believe all these 8 different areas of our lives are not individual silos. They're all interconnected. But the first one is focus. So your focus comes down to your thought life. Your actions will never be greater than your thoughts. So the greatest action that you've ever taken in your life was based on the greatest thought that you ever had. And so any action that's the opposite, a terrible action, came from a terrible thought. And those two are completely connected. And so I just talk about in the book is that your life is always moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts. And so your life is always moving in that direction. It means that your thinking has so much impact and influence in every decision you make. And so to maximize your ability with your focus is that choosing to let which thoughts that you're going to allow to take residence in your mind, because we can't always control what thoughts pop into our head, because some of them just happen, but we can choose to decide which thoughts we take captive and that we hold on to. So the thoughts that are empowering, we should hold on and to focus on those thoughts. And the ones that disempower and discourage us, we need to let them go and to release them. And then once you decide to do that, then you're free to live your dash in an effective way and to pursue your purpose.
That's really good. I really like that. That is very impactful. And I think more people are becoming aware of that, just how impactful it is, the thoughts that you think about yourself, the thoughts that you think about other people, the thoughts you think about your family, just those thoughts in general. If you're able to, kind of like you say, you're able to hold on to those ones that are empowering, to those ones that help build you up, and let go of those negative thoughts. That's the beginning of it. And you're able to focus and do that. That's the key. You're absolutely right. It starts with what you think. So
For sure.
that's absolutely. So as we are preparing, tell me about have you written the new book? Are you in the process of the new book?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting near the end of the process. It's just edits now. I'm probably a quarter of the way through the edits, and these are pretty much probably going to be the final edits. And then after that, I'll be working on the touching up with the front cover, the back cover, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's my goal is by April, this is publishing out for the world to receive.
Oh, awesome. So are you self-publishing? Are you with a publishing house? I'm not sure if that's the right term.
Yeah, I mean, with the first book, yeah, I was taken on by a publisher, which was a blessing. And in the second book, I'm still deciding if I'm going to pursue a publishing company or do self-publishing. So I'm still up in the air about that decision.
Okay. Look forward to hearing it. Would you like to share just a little bit behind the book, or share a little bit just about it? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the second book is about the experience my wife and I had in the hospital with our daughter who was born premature. And the one, we kind of just talked about.
Mhm.
So the reason why the title is called Losing Faith, Finding Hope is because my daughter's name was Faith. So the faith has a double meaning in the title. And the finding the hope is, after you feel like you've lost everything, if you can hold on to hope that you can make it through the most tragic of situations, even the death of a child, that you can become successful and prosperous on the other side of that. Not to say that what happened was a good thing that happened, but you're able to learn lessons in those losses when you've lost your faith or you've lost someone important to you. That holding on to that hope and finding it again is going to be an intentional pursuit.
Mhm. That's really good. That's really good. I mean, that's like you said, we all go through different things, and we have those moments where whether in you and your wife's case, it was losing a child. Sometimes for during COVID, people were losing their jobs, and it's those moments where you have something that kind of rocks you to your core, and then being able to find hope to build yourself back up to get out of kind of like the darkness, being able to get out and build yourself back up, and getting back to kind of living that life, and like you were saying, maximizing that dash. So awesome. I want to thank you for joining me. This has been great. I look forward to the new book. If you guys want to find Jesse's book currently, it is, well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find it? I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon, but let's let the people know where they can find your book and where they can follow you. And
Yeah, absolutely. So for people who are interested in the book, you can find me on Facebook, Jesse Cruz. They can also find me on Instagram, Jesse Cruz Speaks. Find me on Twitter, Jesse Cruz Speaks. Those are the handles. Or on LinkedIn, my name, Jesse Cruz. And for those who want the book, on Amazon.com, it also is on Kindle. So for those who want an ebook, it's available on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com. Or a lot of my customers actually reach out to me directly for a personalized copy. Those are all the best ways to
okay.
get the book.
Awesome. Guys, I will put all of that in the show notes so you know where to find him, where to follow him, where to get your copy of the book. So I believe Jesse's got a story worth sharing that needs to be shared, that we all, like we were saying earlier together, we are all connected. We all need to be able to share our gifts, and he's sharing his with us today. So thank you so much for joining us today. And that is our show for today.